Hi guys, and welcome to Life Unedited with your host, Samantha Limo. Welcome to episode 2, where we will dig in to getting to know your host. So I'm making this episode because I always listen to podcasts and I feel like I really never get to know the host. And especially if I'm listening to podcasts about anxiety and girlfriends and health and so much more. And I just feel like I never really get to know the person behind there. And it might just be a personal preference of mine, but I like to know who's talking behind the screen so that I can relate and say, wow, like I'm not the only one like going through these real life problems. Like there's other people out there that I could connect with that are going through the same problems. So this podcast is created to literally be about everything and anything. And that's why I called it Life Unedited. I'm going to have guests and you will hear their personal stories, my personal stories relating to any topic that they choose. And we're just going to dive into it all and really get comfortable and really understand real life situations that people go through, things going on today, and just everything. So I'm only one semester in. I'm starting up my second semester at the end of January. That means I have 4 more to go, 2 which are full-time internships. And this program has honestly been a whirlwind of emotions. I've had laughs, I've had cries. I wanted to quit at times, but I stuck through and I made it out. And really the thing that got me through this program is really meeting a good group of friends that are in your classes to really help each other get through this program. It's not an easy program, whether you do it full-time, part-time 4 years. It's really a struggle. A lot of readings, a lot of papers, and they're not your average 3 to 5 page papers. They are long. And when I tell you long, they are long. And I'm not saying no other programs like that. There's other programs that are harder, and props to you guys. But this was a struggle for a lot of us in this program, but, we got through it together. And to get me here took me a little bit of time. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. I graduated with my bachelor's in psychology in 2022, and I went off to graduate school for education. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. So while in graduate school to become a teacher, I taught for a 1.5 years in a private institution. And that's where I realized that teaching was not for me. I loved my students. I loved my colleagues. I loved being in a school setting. But just the teaching aspect wasn't for me. I was good at it, but it just wasn't for me. And what really changed my mind about it was that I noticed schools don't have certain services for children, and children need those services, especially in today's society, especially mental health services such as having a guidance counselor or a social worker, a therapist. And some of my students struggled, and I was their only source of safety for them to come talk to. They only felt comfortable with me. And I was honored by that, and I helped them in every possible way that I can. But sometimes it came to a point where I had other students as well to take care of academically. And that's when I realized I can't do this. I can't be both the educator and their counselor. Like, I'm not hired here as a counselor. I don't have the credentials. And it came down to one specific student who had anxiety at a young age and only wanted to talk to me. And sometimes when I share the story, I get emotional because I still talk to this student today, and her mom still connects with me till this day. But the mom shared with me that I changed her daughter's life at such a young age and that I helped her in so many ways that the mom didn't know that I could help their child while being their educator and trying to help them at the same time. And because of this child, she also changed my life, and it made me realize, like, I need to go back to school to go be a therapist, and I need to help people that are going through what my student was going through. And I thank her and her mom every single day for that experience, because if it wasn't for them, I honestly don't know if I would have made this decision to go into social work. I might have made it a little bit later on, but I realized early on, like, this is what I wanted to do because of her. And I'm so proud of myself that I made that decision. And it was so hard because I left a career to go back to school. And I was like making pros and cons chart of like, should I stay? Should I go? Should I stay? Should I go? And it took me a little bit of time to realize. I started thinking this thought in about November, maybe October, November. And I actually didn't leave the job till February. And that was even harder for me too, because there was only a couple months left of school. And I taught second grade, so they were little and they get attached to you. If any teachers out there are listening to this, you know that your students get attached to you. And it was so hard for me to do it, but I had to do, at the end of the day, what was best for myself. And parents still keep in touch with me, and I appreciate that so much, because like I said, it hurt to leave, but I did what's right, and I am so proud of where I am now in school, and knowing that I'm going to be able to like actually help people in the way that they need to be helped, whether it's in a school, in a hospital setting, in a clinic setting, whichever setting it is. So I'm so grateful that I made that decision. So I chose to pursue this career basically based on everything that I just said. To add into that, while I was in undergrad, I was always debating on being a teacher or being in the counseling field. And I wanted to do that because when I was in high school, I never really went to my guidance counselor if I had a problem. I just never saw the need to. He was there if we needed to talk to him, but like I never felt like I was comfortable. Like, he was a guy. I was like, I'd rather have a girl, but like I couldn't switch my guidance counselor. So I always went to my teachers, and like I would vent to them and confide into them. And my teachers had such a big impact on my life that I still keep in touch with so many of them till today. So while I was in undergrad, I was like, oh, okay, like I want to be a teacher, and they helped me, and I'm going to help them. So I was like, okay, teaching's the way to go. But in reality, it was the fact that I wanted to help people the way my teachers helped me, just I didn't want to do it academically as well. They all liked the academic aspect of it. The academic aspect wasn't my favorite. The talking, the helping them through their problems, that's what I wanted. And I realized that then throughout working in a school. Mental health and helping others has always been a big part of my life. I've gone to therapy for years now. I stopped sometimes, then I went back. So also always going to therapy, it always stood out to me like, wow, these people are actually helping me. And I'm listening to the coping mechanisms that they're giving me and the ideas that they're telling me to do, whether it's journaling or self-care tips and breathing exercises. So, you know, it always stood out to me, and it always inside my head, I was like, oh, what if I like to do this? And what if I want to be like them and help others? So really all then came together once I got older and I realized it in college. This all relates to why I'm doing this podcast as well. I want to share my insight. But now I'm going to give you just more about me. Not only am I a social work graduate student, I am also a cheerleading coach at my old high school. I've been doing that for the last 5 years now, I want to say. I love, love, love coaching, cheerleading. And besides that, I work 3 part-time jobs. I work at an occupational therapy office. Shout out to Move to Grow in Staten Island, New York. Danielle is an absolute amazing person. She's an amazing occupational therapist. I also work for a family picking up their kids. They're so cute. And I also do the social media for J&G Auto Service. Shout out to them on Staten Island. It's an auto mechanic and repair shop. But that's me. I have a sister. I have a brother. Both my parents. I have a dog. Her name's Brooklyn. She's the cutest thing ever. I live in New York. I have such a big family. And my family has supported me in so many ways, starting this whole podcast and starting my journey as a social work grad student. They have supported me in so many ways, so I'm so grateful for that, especially my friends as well. They know who they are. They've supported me in so many ways. And I just love life. I like country music. I love, actually, country music. I'm a big Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, Jordan Davis, Jelly Roll, Kane Brown fan. I've seen most of them in concert. I love to travel. I want to start traveling more. I want to see places within the states. I want to go out of state. Aruba's been my favorite so far, but I'd love to travel and see some more places. I can't wait to continue this podcast journey and have all these episodes come out. I have special guests coming up within the next episode, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear their story on health and wellness from a physician assistant's perspective and a doctor's perspective, so I'm excited about that. Please continue to follow my journey. You could listen here on YouTube at Life Unedited-2. You could follow us on Spotify at Life Unedited. And you could tune in on Instagram at therapist_in_bloom_. And I look forward to connecting with you guys. Bye.